Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. I'm your anchor, Name. In today's news recap, we're covering a complex web of global events that are shaping the world stage. The U.S. has imposed sanctions on Chinese satellite imagery companies due to their alleged involvement in Iran's missile program. Meanwhile, tensions in the Middle East have escalated with oil prices rising after a brief exchange of fire between the U.S. and Iran in the Hormuz Strait. We'll also examine how China is adapting to supply chain disruptions caused by the conflict. A significant escalation in tensions between two global superpowers has led to new U.S. sanctions targeting key players in China's burgeoning satellite imagery industry. The U.S. government has imposed sanctions on 3 Chinese firms for allegedly providing satellite imagery to Iran. This move comes as part of Washington's efforts to restrict technological support for Tehran in the ongoing conflict with its regional rivals. According to a statement released by the U.S. Department of State, the 3 Chinese companies involved are Hikvision, ZTE Corporation, and China Electronics Technology Group Corporation. These firms were accused of supplying satellite imagery to Iranian forces, which was then used to target American military personnel in the Middle East. The sanctions were imposed under the U.S. National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2022, which aims to restrict the sale of certain defense-related technologies to Iran. The move is seen as a significant escalation by Washington, aimed at limiting Tehran's ability to acquire advanced military capabilities. This development has sparked concerns about the potential risks and consequences of China's growing involvement in the conflict. Analysts warn that this could have far-reaching implications for regional stability and global security. The U.S. government has consistently accused Iran of conducting missile strikes against American forces in Iraq, killing at least 25 personnel. Tehran denies these claims, but Washington is determined to hold Iran accountable for its actions. By targeting Chinese firms involved in supplying satellite imagery to Iran, the U.S. aims to disrupt Tehran's military planning and limit its ability to acquire advanced technologies. The sanctions are expected to have significant economic implications for the 3 affected companies, which are major players in China's burgeoning technology sector. Tensions escalate in the Middle East as a shocking confrontation between U.S. forces and Iranian vessels in the strategic Hormuz Strait has sent oil prices soaring. The situation in the Strait of Hormuz took a dramatic turn on Friday as the U.S. and Iran exchanged fire, sending oil prices soaring. The global Brent oil benchmark rose almost 3% to nearly $103 a barrel at one point before falling back to around $100. According to the U.S. military, self-defense strikes were made against Iranian forces after unprovoked attacks on U.S. ships heading out of the Gulf through the strait. The exchange of fire came as more than a fifth of the world's oil and gas passes through the Strait of Hormuz, which has been effectively blocked since the start of the U.S.-Israel war with Iran. The conflict began in 2019 and has seen a significant escalation in recent days. Iranian state media reported that 3 U.S. destroyers were involved in the latest exchange of fire. The incident raised concerns about global oil supplies and prices. Despite the attacks, U.S. President Donald Trump said on Friday that the U.S.-Iran ceasefire is still in place. However, Iran's military initially accused the U.S. of violating the ceasefire by targeting its ships, including an oil tanker, moving towards the Strait of Hormuz. The situation has been described as back to normal now by Iranian state media. The incident highlights the ongoing tensions between the U.S. and Iran, with the U.S. demanding that Tehran never have a nuclear weapon. Trump said negotiations with Iran were ongoing, but warned that if a deal is not signed, Iran would face significant consequences. The international community remains closely watching the situation as it has implications for global oil markets and security. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, another region is experiencing a significant shift. China's aluminium exports are seeing a remarkable surge in recent months. A surge in China's aluminium exports has been driven by global supply chain disruptions and increased demand for industrial materials amid the ongoing conflict between Iran and its adversaries. According to customs data cited by Reuters, China's aluminium exports rose 15% in April compared with the same month last year, reaching a total of 598,000 metric tons. The Strait of Hormuz, a vital shipping lane for global energy supplies, has seen increased tensions following the escalation of hostilities between Iran and the U.S.-led coalition. This has led to tighter security measures and potential disruptions to oil exports, which in turn has driven up demand for industrial materials such as aluminium. Chinese manufacturers have responded by accelerating their exports to overseas buyers seeking to stockpile components and raw materials ahead of any further supply chain disruptions. Analysts predict that this trend will continue, with strong export growth expected for China's aluminium sector in the coming months. Iran is already facing significant economic challenges due to international sanctions and reduced oil exports. The conflict has also led to concerns over the potential impact on global food supplies, as Iranian ships have been targeted by rival nations. With aluminium exports surging from a key trading nation like China, industry experts are watching closely to see how this trend will play out in the coming months. We take a look at the latest developments in the global economy, as markets struggle to recover from yesterday's slump, with stocks plummeting. Reports of sporadic clashes between Iranian and U.S. naval forces in the Strait of Hormuz have raised tensions in the region, with Washington awaiting Tehran's response to a proposed peace deal. The clashes come as diplomatic activity intensifies behind the scenes, with talks set to resume in Pakistan next week. According to reports by the Wall Street Journal, U.S.-Iran negotiations could take place in Islamabad, marking a potential breakthrough in efforts to ease tensions between the two nations. However, the prospects of such a deal remain uncertain, given the ongoing fighting in Lebanon and growing economic disruption across the region. Local media reports indicate that at least 31 people have been killed in Israeli attacks across Lebanon, with Hezbollah claiming responsibility for 26 of these strikes. The continued escalation in southern Lebanon has fueled concerns about regional instability. Meanwhile, the United Nations has warned that the Iran war is pushing global food prices to a 3-year high. In a statement, the UN said the conflict had led to significant disruptions in global supply chains, with China's aluminium exports surging as a result. U.S. Senator Marco Rubio has announced new sanctions targeting Chinese entities aiding Iran with satellite imagery. The CIA assessment suggests that Iran could withstand a blockade for up to 4 months. As tensions in the Strait of Hormuz continue to simmer, oil prices have risen again amid hopes for diplomatic progress. Following a surprise statement from former U.S. President Donald Trump, it's emerged that Russia and Ukraine have allegedly agreed to his proposed 3-day ceasefire. According to reports from NPR World, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced that Russia and Ukraine have agreed to a 3-day ceasefire and prisoner exchange. The agreement, which was reportedly made directly by Trump to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin's foreign affairs advisor Yuri Ushakov, includes a suspension of all kinetic activity and the exchange of 1,000 prisoners between the two countries. Saturday marks Victory Day in Russia, a holiday that commemorates the victory over Nazi Germany in World War II. Trump has stated that the ceasefire is intended to be a gesture of goodwill and could mark the beginning of the end of the long-standing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. The agreement comes after weeks of fighting between Russian-backed separatists and Ukrainian forces in eastern Ukraine, which have resulted in significant loss of life on both sides. The collapse of previous ceasefires has led to widespread criticism that Trump's intervention may be too little, too late. Experts argue that the ceasefire could be a crucial step towards reducing tensions between Russia and Ukraine, but also highlight the potential risks involved, including the possibility of a Russian withdrawal from the conflict zone or an escalation of hostilities. As one analyst noted, the fact that it happened now, on Victory Day, suggests that Putin may see this as an opportunity to present himself as a peacemaker. That's all for today's news recap. I want to thank you for joining us as we bring you the latest updates from around the world. If you'd like to stay up to date on these stories and more, be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. We'll continue to bring you in-depth analysis and breaking news, so please join us tomorrow for another update.